All right, well, I wanted to welcome everybody to our Data Marketing Communications Orientation session. And we are here with our DMC 660 instructor, Cindy Greenglass. Cindy's going to go through the presentation that she has developed for you guys, talk a little bit about the class and the program, and answer any questions at the end that you may have. So with that being said, I wanted to go ahead and send it over to you, Cindy, and welcome everybody to the program.
Thank you very much, and thanks all of you for joining to hear this session. I'm going to try not to talk too fast, but I have a lot to share with you in this 30 minutes we have together. This is me smiling away here at one of my recent visits at West Virginia University. As Amber said, I do teach the intro class to DMC, and as such, we will spend the first 8 weeks of the entire program together. And, you know, part of my responsibilities is to make sure you are successfully launched into the program. We ground you in some of the fundamentals that you will use throughout the entire program. And because every course follows the same pattern, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So part of what I see is my role is to help you get a successful start to the overall degree program. I am happy to say I am an IMC, West Virginia IMC alum. This program did not exist when I went back for my master's, and had it existed, I would have done this program in a heartbeat. And I'm happy to have the opportunity to share that with you and share the program. So data-driven marketing, what is DMC? We work together with West Virginia University. They went and talked to many employers and professionals in the marketplace and said, what is lacking? What are you looking for? What is the need out there in the market for marketers? And clearly there is a critical need. There's a talent gap for marketing professionals who are data savvy communicators. That may sound like anachronism. What do you mean? Communicators that are data savvy? Is that a little kind of, you know, left brain and right brain? And the answer is absolutely yes. This is combining the art and the creativity and the beauty of the messaging and communications that we as marketers are proficient at with the science of data and analytics, understanding how to find the combination of the two. And if you as a DMC student can understand that relationship between data and marketing and bring it together to execute it, you are going to be highly successful in the future, and you'll do great in this program. So what is data-driven? Data-driven really means the following things to us. It starts with metrics. Metrics mean you have a healthy respect for the data. It means that we talk about facts and informed decisions. Everybody has opinions. Opinions have a place, but they have to be combined with metrics and data and facts and supported by them in order for them to have the power that we feel as marketers we should have in our decisions, in our campaigns, and in the results. So you start with, what am I willing to be measured by? I want to be measured by what will make me successful as a marketer. We can't be afraid to be measured and held responsible for our results. And sometimes results are good and sometimes they aren't good, but we're going to learn in this program what the metrics are, what are the key metrics for marketers, and which metrics to use in order to see if you were successful in very different scenarios and in very different forms, because not every metric works for every program, campaign, or goal. And that's a real important thing. Match your metric with your goal. Analysis. Analysis is very different than reporting. So analysis, we're going to talk about how you interpret data. How do you derive meaning from data? How do you take reports and turn reports into insights. Lots of us can create spreadsheets. We can create lots of reports that say open rates and click-through rates and response rates, but what we're looking for is the meaning. Very few people have the skill and talent of being able to interpret that and then make good decisions based on that in marketing. And we're going to spend time, a lot of time on that in this program. And you will then be uniquely qualified to combine analytics, decision making, and execution in marketing. And it's going to give you a sense of confidence that you're going to be able to talk the talk and walk the walk. We're going to give you some language. We're going to give you vocabulary. We're going to give you real-world practical case studies and experience. You're going to take this back in your job, and you will be able to apply it the next day. We've had students in the program who will send notes or share with the fellow students going, I just used that and went into my boss and made this ROI case. And oh my God, like they bought it. Like I did this yesterday. I learned it on Monday. I applied it on Tuesday. I got the budget on Wednesday. So you'll have those that confidence. And lastly, it really gives you credibility. Many people in marketing have shied away from quantitative numbers, math, and data because it's really not perhaps as natural to us. You know, we're communicators. We came at it from a different point of view because we like to talk and communicate and message. Maybe we're creative and we're more on the side of video and graphics and design. But when you are talking about moving forward in your career and you want to look at where you want to be 5 years from now, you need to have a grounding and a comfort level in talking about metrics, measurement, math. And we're going to give you that confidence and credibility so that you will be taken seriously at the strategy table with your colleagues in areas outside of marketing. So what this program is, let's talk about what it is that we are going to do together and what this program is not. So, first, let me say it does require you to stretch your analytical thinking. What we're going to do is focus on the why more than on the what. So a lot of times the what is reporting out just data. I'm not that interested in just data. Your faculty and instructors are less interested in the data. They're interested in more what it means and how to help you evolve your thinking and how to focus on the questions to ask and what the answers are that you should be looking for and how to bring those two together. You will see that there's many different types of work styles as well as education styles of your faculty. In our intro class, we are going to use simulations and online lab work in addition to our traditional formats, and I'll talk about the discussion threads and assignments in a bit. Other faculty members and instructors use other types of educational assignments. You may be writing a memo to your boss and how do you justify a project or an expense or a spend. We're going to put together presentations to the board. How do you actually present your findings? You're going to have a big campaign course where you're going to develop and execute an entire campaign. So there's lots of different ways that we deliver on the academic content that's merged with practical decision making, and you can bring your experiences from where you work, and your peers and your colleagues and your fellow students will bring their experiences, and so you're going to learn from them as much, if not more, than you're going to learn from your instructors. I say this program is for the brave marketer who's not afraid to embrace change, embrace metrics, and be held accountable. Every single student starts out saying, I was so nervous, I was afraid. And what are they most afraid of? They're afraid of work-life balancing and whether they can handle and manage it. And I can tell you, you can. I absolutely believe you can. I did it, worked full-time, went to school, have a family. I juggled it. All the students in the program juggle it. They will tell you that's probably the number one scariest thing for most people. And the other thing that scares people is I don't know if I'm data-driven. I don't know if I know my math that well. You don't have to worry about that. If you are willing to take it on a little bit, you're going to do just fine. It does require you to have a healthy respect for numbers. It requires you to have a healthy amount of intellectual curiosity, asking why, wanting to learn, and that's what I'm really looking for people to be successful is if you have intellectual curiosity, you're not afraid of basic math, and you ask a lot of questions, and you're willing to listen to the different points of view so that you learn and take what you learn forward, you're going to do just fine. This program is going to bring that to the table. When I say basic math, I'm talking about, we're talking, addition, subtraction, multiplication, percentages, knowing what a return on investment is. We're going to show you how to calculate it, but you have to understand what it is. You know what an Excel spreadsheet is. You work with Excel spreadsheets. You're going to have some basic math. I'm not asking you to be programming, and you're not going to be needing in any of your classes to do SAS and SPSS and all of the, the stats that you would do in an MBA program, but you are going to have some basic math requirements. Nothing scary. What this program is not, it's not going to require you to know programming language. You're not going to be using statistical software, like I said, but you will probably be using other things like Excel spreadsheets. You're going to have CRM and user experience technology to use in online labs. And you don't have to be a data scientist, okay? Put your mind at ease. This also does not require you to do complex financial calculations or balance sheets, but we do in the very first class. We work on financial metrics. And this very first course, we talk about the metrics that matter, why you need to care about them as marketers, and you need to wrap your head around those because we are held accountable as marketers every day. We're being held accountable. Your CFO is going to hold you accountable. Your CMO is going to hold you accountable. So let's work together to understand what you should be accountable for so you get comfortable with that. So and it doesn't require you to calculate things like standard deviations, decile models, all these terms that might scare you like, I have no idea what you're talking about. That's cool because I'm going to tell you, you'll learn what we're talking about. If you don't know what these terms are, that's okay. We're going to teach you what they mean, how to apply them, and when to use them. And most of all, why you should even care about them. But I'm not going to ask you to calculate them, and I don't believe any of the other instructors ask you to calculate either any of this stuff. So those are probably some of the concerns that I hear. You are embarking on a wonderful, wonderful journey, and I am very envious because I would have, as I said, I would have done this program in a heartbeat. This program was conceived because there is this need for marketing professionals to bring these two disciplines together, the data-driven analytics with the marketing. And there really is no other program of this kind in any other academic institution. If you have been doing your due diligence and looking at other programs, you see that there are programs that are heavily driven towards the computer science side of this, which is one way and one approach. There is another group of programs on predictive analytics that are for the stats, the math, and the more rigorous numbers people. And then there are marketing programs, but a program that is for marketers, designed for marketers, that helps you to be a data-driven decision maker does not exist like this one. It was built by practitioners and educators combined, hand in glove, and as a result you have the best of both worlds. You will have a rigorous academic environment as well as a terrific learning experience from your instructors. We will not only give you a strong academic and critical thinking experience, but you also, through the different courses, will be exposed to a toolkit of analytic tools, social media and monitoring, user experience, UX and CRM tools, and you will have practical instructors who have written books on these subjects, who are using them every single day. And so, that's, I think, one of the great things that you will get out of this degree program. Another thing that's really important is when we say you got to learn how to talk the talk and walk the walk. There is a language, a lingua franca in every industry. People know if you know the language. People know if you can say the words, but you don't have any idea what they mean. And what you're going to do in this program is come out with not only knowing what the words are, knowing what the words mean, and being able to use them credibly, and then take that into the conversations that you have with your bosses, with your peers, with your colleagues. And lastly, we have to talk about the class. I am so impressed by the student body of West Virginia Online. I learned so much from the students. I learned an incredible amount from every class I had with my fellow students. I stay in touch with many of them. You become close if you want to, or not if you don't want to, but professionally close. We have very strong networks with some of the students, because you have now created a network of very unique, like-minded individuals that are like no one else you're going to meet professionally. And you can tap that network throughout your time at West Virginia and well on into the future. So we have created a program that is structured specifically with those discussions and with the engagement you have with your fellow students, so that you can learn from each other and from each other's experiences. Don't just listen to me as you're doing tonight. You're going to listen to the voices of everybody in the class. A little bit about the program, just a little bit. So we have 5 8-week terms. The first one that you see there is one that will be launching this coming January, and that's called Early Spring. I live in Chicago, and I only wish it was early spring in January, but I guess it's early spring in some places. And so here you see what they're called and when they run. And so there's the early and late spring, there's a summer course, and then there's your early and late fall. So we'll be kicking off January officially. As we were just talking before we started here, the classes, the program, and the course will open up for you on January 5th, and the first official day of class online will be on the 8th, and we follow a particular calendar every week, and every class will follow the same cadence. We work in a system called Blackboard. If you have done an online course in the past through your undergrad experience, then you may be familiar with Blackboard. If you have not, and you're joining this degree program as a mature student, which I did, and had been out of academics and school for some time, and I had not been exposed ever to an online class. We didn't have online classes when I was in undergrad, and I had a lot of trepidation about how I was going to function in this online community. Rick, who welcomed you when you first came on, is amazing, and the technical support team at West Virginia is amazing. It is really, really intuitive. It's a great system. It has lots of resources for you within the system. They have all kinds of tools for you to use. Everything is done through Blackboard, and you will find it once you get the hang of it, which we do together through this first course. It's like second nature for you. You won't even think about it. The first course is where it takes you a little time to kind of go, how do I use that word editor? And I just figured out I could put happy faces in my discussions. And then you get into this next course, and it's like old hat, and you're used to it, and it's easy peasy. So it's an excellent system. You will find, if you haven't done online, or maybe if you have done online education before but isn't formatted in this way, it is very engaging. Some people ask, I don't know, it seems like I'd rather go into a classroom in a live environment. I find that actually the online environment is more engaging because you actually have the opportunity to dialogue and meet and discuss with every single one of your colleagues and peers in a class. Often you go into a lecture hall and you may talk to the people that sit near you or around you, but you may never have the opportunity to speak to some of the other people that like to sit in a different part of the hall, and you see them but you've never had a conversation with. You will discuss with every one of your colleagues throughout the course, and if not this course, in the future with all the other programs and courses. When we start in your intro, we start together. We do have an assessment. It's an online 30-question assessment that you will take in the second week of the term. And the purpose of the assessment is just really to ensure that you can be successful in the program. We want you to succeed. That is our number one goal. And to do that, we want to make sure that we have matched you up and that this is a program you can be successful in. So we're looking at 3 separate parts to this, 10 questions each. There's a basic computation, like I said. I'm giving you, they're like those word problems that you've all seen. Joe gets in his car, he travels 50 miles, his car uses 35 gallons per tank. How far can you go, or something? And then you get a multiple choice and you are selecting. It is a multiple choice assessment. So set your mind at ease there. The second section is critical thinking. Critical thinking is probably the best skill you can come into this program with. And critical thinking shows itself in many, many different ways, but that's what we're really looking for, are people who can, that can think. And the third section presents some analysis and asks you to make some judgments on some analysis that we give you. Was this a good or a bad response rate? Who had the better open rate in an email? We're going to present to you some findings, and you're going to choose, did Kathy or Joe do better in this campaign based on these criteria? So you get 10 questions in each section, multiple choice. You need to receive a 70% on the overall assessment to consider it a pass. If you don't get 70% on that initial assessment, don't panic. The purpose is not to be punitive, it's to level set. And then what we have done is we've created a 6-week self-paced, we call it a boot camp. This is a self-taught set of lessons and coaching that will help you through what we think you need to be successful and to learn. We will go through the basic concepts to help you be successful in the future classes. And then at the end of that, you can take this, we give it to you all at once. Some students who have gone into the boot camp have done it in 2 or 3 weeks, and they just, blazed through it. Some of them took the whole time. Some of the students who didn't need to take it and passed the assessment have done it anyways because it was good. They said this was very helpful for me to keep in my back pocket. And then in the towards the end of the course in the 7th week, we'll ask you to take a second version of this assessment. It looks exactly like the first, so you will be prepared to know exactly what you're going to be met up with. The same 3 sections, 10 questions in each. Multiple choice. In fact, it's formatted exactly the same way. It will have different questions, but it won't come as a surprise what it looks like. And the goal is for you to reach that 70% on this post-assessment. If you aren't able to achieve the 70% or higher, then we work with you and the university works with you to say maybe this isn't the best program for you, but maybe there is another graduate program at WVU because they have plenty of great ones, and maybe there is a different master's or graduate program that is better suited for you than this one. And that's the whole purpose of the assessment. It's not to scare you off, it's not punitive, and it's very simple As I said, why are we doing this? We want you to be successful. We want to be sure that the academic experience is matched to you and your aptitude. Here is a look at the academic plan of the classes and how they lay out currently. This may move around, and of course I defer to the university on how they actually move the different classes around. You do get one elective, and then you have your, you can see that you can complete it 7 terms in under 18 months. So if you're, you can move through it. A typical week, what does a typical week look like? Every week you post a discussion on the discussion board. You are posed a question. You see all of the questions for the whole course every week, and you can see them. Your question that is posed to you, you must do your research and answer it and post your answer by Wednesday at 11:55 p.m. Eastern Time. Then between late Wednesday, after you've posted your response, Thursday and Friday by 11:55 p.m., you have to respond to at least 4 of your classmates' posts, substantive posts, and we show you what that means, what a post should entail. And that's the dialogue that happens every week, the engaging and interaction between you and your other students. There are 6 graded discussions for each course. The opening week, we don't have a graded discussion. We introduce ourselves and get to know each other. And the last week, you don't because you're working on your final assignment. Your writing assignments are due Monday, same time, 11:55 p.m. They are uploaded to the homework Dropbox as part of the system. 6 of graded assignments in each of the 8-week courses. And in your intro class, 2 of those 6 assignments are online labs. You take them online, they're not written. So you actually have 4 written assignments and 2 of the online labs in your intro course. If you're looking for more in-depth information on the course descriptions as you move through it, here's the website. You can go and look at the curriculum. We're talking about the intro course. That's where you start. You have your 8 core courses, and then you have your electives and 1 capstone, which seals your final experience in your graduate program. I hope I see you in class starting in a few weeks, and I'm happy to take any questions. All right. So Jasmine is typing. Give people a chance to type. Hello, Jasmine. What is your favorite aspect of the course? Oh, well, for the intro course, I have to say that I like the fact that you all enter it. It's the first. You're all a little nervous. You come out of this course with this newfound confidence, and the students say, "I can do this. I feel confident. I can do it. I learned so much, and I can't wait for my next course." You know, there's that trepidation where you begin, and I feel like I really helped to launch you into the whole degree program. The discussion board is just a fantastic experience. It is for me, and it is for the students. I know they often say that's the best part of the courses, the discussions. Any other questions that people may have? Anything that you would like me to dig into that I might have glossed over? All right, Kenneth is typing. Don't be shy. You'll be typing a lot in your discussions. Kenneth asked if we have any group projects. No. I am not aware of any group projects in any of the courses. Good questions. Okay, Jasmine has another question. Are there concepts we should review before the assessment? Really not. I think that, again, we got basic math, so you're going to look at those, word problems that you've seen and throughout your school and academics. Critical thinking is you may want to go and check out what critical thinking means and what some of the concepts of critical thinking are. But I would think that there isn't really anything you can study up on ahead of time. I think that they're pretty fundamental. I think you'll do just fine. Kristen is typing a question. And on the assessment, if you don't reach the 70% on the assessment, you still meet all the requirements, meet and exceed the requirements of the course, you still pass the course. So that keep that in mind. Another question, I understand that you stated we won't be using SAS or SPSS software. That is correct. Or statistical spreadsheets. That is correct. Can I go deeper into what kind of software we will use for data analysis? I can't speak to the other classes, and so I think that I can only speak for the intro class. We don't use any software. You will get in your lessons or in your assignments, you will actually be looking at the output of someone else's reporting and analysis. And what I'm really hoping is to help you look at it and understand what it means and how to interpret it. So for example, we're going to talk about things like net present value, internal rate of return, return on marketing investment, brand awareness. Okay, these are terms. You're going to read in your textbook how these are calculated. I'm not going to ask you to calculate them. What I'm going to do is say, when would you use an IRR, internal rate of return? This is what a campaign is. You're doing this campaign. What's a better way to measure it? Net present value or IRR? And you'll be reading about what they are and how they're calculated, but you are not going to have to calculate any of it. So that is not part of our course. I don't know about the next two where you're doing audience identification, if they get into any of the software tools that you actually get your hands into. The textbooks are listed on the DMC website, correct? Are there other texts that we'll be using? You have an entire reading section when you join the course, and in every week there is a lesson to read that is takes kind of your textbook reading, but it then brings in the whole lesson. It's the lesson that each instructor writes for each week, where we talk about other concepts not covered in the textbook. And then there are supplemental readings that are journals. They can be white papers, blog posts, more recent than the textbooks. Sometimes what I find is the textbooks are great fundamentals, but if I want you to stay current on what's happening like now, the university likes the instructors to provide readings that are up to the minute, that keep you current, because this business and this industry is changing so fast. It's pretty hard to write a textbook on social media that isn't already dated by the time the publisher has inked it. So yes, you will have additional readings and links to them. Here's Rick. Thank you, Rick. There's an incredible research section in the online system, and as part of your assignments and your discussions, you will be going in and accessing these different resources and bringing to bear the research that you are doing to answer the discussion questions every week.
These are really, really good questions. Any other questions that you guys have for Cindy while we still have her here? Don't be afraid to ask. Sometimes if you have a question, somebody else has one too. So.
Yeah, we have a few people typing. I know it's a lot to absorb, so sometimes it takes a minute or two to say, I'm not sure We have a few people typing away, so we'll give them a chance. They're typing madly. My system might be slow. They haven't come up yet. Nobody's asked about, what my holiday plans are. Okay. Will we listen or attend any online lectures? No. I don't have any live or on-demand lectures in the intro class or course. There may be in some of your other classes where there might be an online like this, a presentation that is then recorded for on demand that can be listened to later. I embed video into the lessons, and so you will have embedded in your lessons some really what I thought were some thought-provoking TED Talks. There will be some Avanish Kaushik, who I find extremely entertaining and remarkably clear and articulate on web metrics. So we have a couple of his lectures that are embedded in your lessons, but not, there won't be a lecture from me online. My lessons are all going to be already in the system as lesson plans. And I don't know, Rick, if I can't speak to the other courses. If you don't pass the assessment, will the 6-week bootcamp run concurrent to the intro course? Yes, it does. The bootcamp runs concurrent at the same time as the course. They aren't very, how do I say this? It sounds like, oh my goodness, that sounds like I've got 6 more weeks of additional work in addition to the course itself. They are self-paced. They're lessons, and each one of them talks about a concept that was in the assessment. And it says, here's the question, and here's what I was looking for, and this is how you go about figuring out what the right answer to that question would be. So I don't think they take a lot of your time over and above your coursework. I would say based on the individual, it might add an hour a week based on your individual learning style and how long it may take you. But I'd say maybe it adds an hour in a whole week to go through that week's boot camp.
Really, really good questions, guys. Anything else before we wrap up our session this evening? All right. Well, I would like to thank you all for attending. And Cindy, thank you so much for hosting the session tonight and presenting. And we definitely look forward to seeing you all in class on January 8th. Classes will open January 5th, and your first day of class will actually be January 8th. We'll be in contact and sending you updates and reminders. But again, thank you so much, Cindy.
It's my pleasure, and I do accept. If you reach out to West Virginia and you want to send a question my way, they do send me questions as you're preparing to begin. You can reach out to me. I'm very quick to reply.
Yes, thank you so much, and feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any questions.
Happy
holidays. Have a good night, guys. Happy holidays.